Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about which environment is more difficult to adapt to, the desert or the Arctic. Both places are extreme but for different reasons. While the desert is extremely hot and dry, the Arctic is frigid and unpredictable. Let's discuss some key survival issues to understand this challenge. Are survival skills learned in the desert more adaptable to different environments than those learned in the Arctic? Yes, desert survival skills are more adaptable because conserving water and dealing with heat can be applied in many places, while Arctic skills are very specific. Is searching for edible plants in the desert riskier than hunting in the Arctic? Yes, it is riskier because many desert plants can be poisonous, while in the Arctic, hunting provides more reliable food. Is daily life in the desert more manageable than coping with Arctic winters? Yes, daily life in the desert is more manageable. Arctic winters are extremely cold and dark, which makes survival hard. Is relying on natural resources in the desert less reliable than in Arctic regions? Yes, it is less reliable because in the desert there are fewer resources like water and plants. In the Arctic, people can at least hunt and fish. Is obtaining fresh water in the desert more challenging than securing food in the Arctic? Yes, water in the desert is the biggest challenge, while in the Arctic food is hard but still possible with hunting.
Do Arctic communities rely more on traditional hunting practice than desert communities rely on foraging? Yes, Arctic communities depend strongly on hunting traditions, while desert people use more diverse strategies. Are survival skills learned in the desert and the Arctic more versatile than basic camping skills? Of course, they are more versatile because they are based on real life extreme conditions. Is life in Svalbard colder than in Siberia? Yes, life in Svalbard is colder to this Arctic location and strong winds. Are Arctic communities more self sufficient than desert populations? Yes, Arctic communities are usually more self sufficient since they must depend on their own hunting and resources. It is harder to stay warm than to feed yourself in polar climates. Yes, it is harder to stay warm because extreme cold can kill faster than hunger.
What is the most important resource for survival in both the desert and the Arctic? The most important resource is water. What is the most dangerous risk when living in the desert? The most dangerous risk is dehydration. What is the most reliable food source in the Arctic? The most reliable food source is fish. Which environment is the most extreme for human survival? The desert or the Arctic? The Arctic is the most extreme. Which is the hardest challenge people face in the Arctic? The hardest challenge is staying warm. Which survival strategy is considered the most effective in the desert? The most effective strategy is conserving water. Which community shows the strongest traditions for survival? Desert dwellers, or Arctic inhabitants. Arctic inhabitants show the strongest traditions. Which environment requires the greatest adaptation skills to survive in? The Arctic requires the greatest adaptation skill.
Which region has the less predictable weather? The desert of the Arctic. The Arctic has the less predictable weather. What is the biggest challenge in finding food between the desert and the Arctic? The desert has the biggest challenge in finding food.
So, in conclusion, both the desert and the Arctic are extreme places to live in. However, we believe the Arctic is the most difficult environment to adapt to because the cold, the weather, and the lack of light make survival harder than in the desert.